Hey guys, Thad Shoemaker, Shoemaker Guitar Works. How's it going? So I'm going to do another installment of how to make a pawn shop guitar great. So customer brought this guitar to me, and I know absolutely nothing about it. They knew absolutely nothing about it. He picked it up at a pawn shop for like, I don't know, I think 10 bucks, something like that. But anyway, he's going to start sending me these things, and I'm going to put little packages together with practice amp and a good used guitar for a cheap price. So try and get more kids playing music. And that's the goal. So anyway, I did an installment on this a while back on a guitar, and so I thought I'd do one on one that's actually going to be in the store. So I've already went ahead and picked off all the strings that were broken off around the peg heads and everything. This is a Behringer guitar. Not really familiar too much with their guitars. I know they make good audio equipment and stuff like that, so we'll have to see how their guitars are. First thing I can see is this side of the pickup's way too high. It was actually bound up in there. You know, little stuff like that you see right away that makes you say, hey, something ain't right here, you know. Check these trim screws. So this is obviously a Strat type guitar, but it's not a Strat. The body style is just a shade different. It's got that familiar shape up here and kind of in this area too, but then the lower horn changes. It's actually kind of a neat looking guitar. I like the minimal pick guard that's on it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get the strings off of this thing. Looks like I might have to replace the nut. I'm not sure. It looks pretty hacked. I don't understand why people insist on tying their strings to the headstock. There's absolutely no reason to do that. I know there's more than one way to string a guitar, but there's no need to tie them to the headstock. All that does is cause whoever works on it problems. So there we go. Gotta be careful not to poke yourself. I was doing a fret job earlier and got the callus on my finger. And didn't even realize that I did it because it's the callus from playing. A lot of you guys know that I host podcast / radio show Sunday nights, and we record during the week. So we recorded yesterday, last night, and it was just a fun show. Those guys were a riot. They were great guests. Look up the Local Stage podcast on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it. It won't be actually live, but it'll be a video podcast versus just an audio podcast. And having those guys in here was just a great time. It's a local musician. His stage name is Sleazy B. His name's Johnny Baker, and he plays several different types of music and very multi-talented, and his dad is just as talented and the songwriter. So him and his dad came in, they did a couple songs, we jammed, we played some other local music. So it's definitely worth checking out. Warning, it might not be G-rated. So if you got little kids, you might not want to watch it because they're kind of foul-mouthed, but it's all in good fun. But anyway, check it out. Local Stage podcast right here on YouTube. You can also find the audio only on iTunes, Spotify, and on Sunday nights on iRock 93.5 here in the Quad Cities, or on the iRock 93.5 app on Sunday nights. But one of the main reasons we turned it into a podcast versus just being on the radio is they couldn't replay it. So if somebody missed the show, even including one of the guests, there was no way once it aired that it could be replayed. So we decided to try and turn it into a podcast, and it's working out really well. So anyway, back to guitars. What I'm going to do here is just take this Scotch-Brite. This is a satin finish neck, so I'm not worried about the neck or the finish on the neck. And just take this Scotch-Brite across here. And give them a nice satiny finish. They actually look like they have a great crown to them. Not much wear at all, which is awesome. I think this guitar was just kind of beat around and not really played. So I'll use some of this guitar cleaner here. Clean this thing up. Was never a fan of this guitar cleaner until the customer gave me this bottle, and this is the Paul Reed Smith brand, in fact, and I'm sure they're probably all about the same, but it works pretty darn good. It's very similar to like the spray detailer kind of stuff that you can buy for automotive purposes. But it works really good to take the grime and whatever off of the guitar. If this nut isn't hacked to death and I can just throw strings on this thing and adjust the truss rod and the saddles and stuff, it looks like it's going to be a good guitar. Even if I got to make a nut for it, it's not that big a deal. In fact, I probably got an old Fender style nut sitting back there that's cut but not as deep as this one. So let's flip her over, see what the back side looks like. Got a nice looking neck to it. There's no bird's eye in it, but there is a little bit of flame. It's actually got something right here on the neck, so I'm gonna take this Scotch-Brite and kind of clean it off since it's a satin neck. By the way, Scotch-Brite works really good on satin necks to make them satin again once they start feeling glossy. You just take the ultrafine Scotch-Brite to it like that, and now it's back to being smooth and satiny. There are a few dings in the back of this neck, probably because it never sat on a stand, it just got leaned up against something. But hey, for less than $100, you know, it's not that bad. I would deal with that myself. So let's spray some of this here cleaner. Clean that neck a little bit. Looks like the tuners are pretty decent. I mean, they're your cheaper production guitar tuners, but they look like they're decent, and the shafts didn't seem loose. I don't know where these Behringers are made. I would assume China or Indonesia or somewhere over there. It's got a similar body shape to a First Act Strat, which actually, some of those guitars really aren't that bad. I've played a few of them that I actually liked. In fact, I had a First Act Telecaster style guitar that I actually liked. I ended up trading that to another local luthier for an old Lotus mandolin because I'm a Lotus collector. So let's go ahead and try throwing some strings on this thing and see where we're at. So these are D'Addario XL10s. I'm going to put the 2 E's on here and see where the action's at on the neck, or with the nut, I mean. One over and one under. No need to tie your string. All right, so it's definitely hitting. Let me grab a let me look and see where this E is even at. Well, I can tell you right now, the truss rod's way too tight. So, all right, let's, what do we got going on here? Okay. Wow, well, we might have a truss rod problem, which could be why this thing ended up in a pawn shop. Let me go grab my real truss rod wrench. I'll bring you right back. All right, so I got the wrench. Man. Let's put this thing up like this. Get that out of the way. Holy cow. I'm gonna have to take the string tree out to try and be able to get that in there like it's supposed to be. So, these are the kind of things you got to go through when you buy an unknown guitar. Man. Almost looks like it's a bigger size. So let me grab another one. All right, so got some choices here now. So this is the 4mm that's typically foreign guitars. Man, if that is turning, it's not turning right. So this one's a 3/16. Let's see if, oh, yeah. So now that's better. So let's continue on with the restring. Never would have suspected this thing to be a 3/16, and somebody's probably been trying to use a metric Allen wrench on it, and that's why the end of it's messed up. Really had to push that sucker in there in order to get it to turn. So let's continue putting strings on this thing. Find the hole. Forgot to cut my string end off. Oh, almost forgot to put the string tree back in. Which generally you don't really need it for the A and the D strings. I don't know why they do that, but they do. I mean, on a reverse headstock maybe, but not this kind. Got a little more string than what I really wanted on this one, but that's all right. So this guitar will be for sale with a little tiny Marshall amp, not a tube amp or anything, just a little solid state Marshall amp. I'm gonna do a package deal for $89, and I think that's, or $99, sorry. But I think that's a good deal to bring music to a kid who may not otherwise be able to afford it. And if that particular kid can't afford that, but still wants the guitar, I'll probably sell it for what he can afford, he or she. So, and I'm gonna do that with all these guitars that my customer donates. So, you guys are looking for something, or know somebody that less fortunate, can't really afford to buy new stuff, send them my way. I'll hook them up with a package deal. Stretch and cut, stretch and cut, stretch and cut. Now, I haven't even checked the electronics in this guitar, so I don't even know if any of that will work yet. I'm bound and determined to poke myself in the finger today, or in the eye, or something. So, actually resonates pretty good. Must be that all maple neck. Hurts my finger where I sliced it with the fret saw. Yeah, so as long as this thing goes good when I plug it in, we will call this an episode, but there might be a part 2, so I'm not sure. Stay tuned. So basically, you know, you buy a cheap guitar and you put a little time into it and clean it up and put some strings on it, and you got yourself, or your kid or whoever's, you got them a decent guitar for less than $100, you know? So the way I'm selling this package, it'll be a guitar and an amp for less than $100, and or right at $100, I guess. So if somebody's already got the amp and they know a kid who is looking for a Strat style guitar, well, hey, great. I'll hook them up with a guitar, and I'll just put the amp towards the next package deal or whatever. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe, and have a great day.